My love affair for Jaguar E-Type started in 1973 at the age of just 4 when my father brought home a brand new red with black works hardtop V12 manual E-Type, and I just remember as a kid looking at this thing in absolute awe. I could not stop thinking about owning an E-Type, in particular a red V12 Roadster. So then, I spent 17 years of my career in the new car business, working for manufacturers like Volkswagen, Audi, Mercedes-Benz, and BMW. But all the time I had this passion to doing something with E-Types. At the age of 21, while I was still at Volkswagen Audi, I bought my first E-Type, quite a rough, tired Series 2 that had been imported from the US. And I sort of managed to keep that going for a little bit before eventually having to take it off the road and start a restoration on that car. So my first restoration on E-Types really started at the age of 21. So this is something, and over the years, whilst I was still in the motor industry, I moved on, ended up as general manager at Mercedes-Benz. All this time I had an E-Type, a couple of V12s. Eventually, 2006, I'd had enough, and I thought, I'm going to start up a business doing British sports cars. After a very short period of time, I'm just going to focus on E-Types. I'm just going to get well known and good at one thing, the thing I've always loved. I was the founder and set up the company E-Type UK Limited, which I then owned and ran from 2007 through to 2016. West Coast E-Type might be new and unknown to a lot of people, but my love and passion for the product and the love of this platform spans back to 1973 and the mid-80s when I actually started wrenching on them myself. So I'm no stranger, we're no strangers to this beautiful marque, and I'm very excited to introduce you to West Coast E-Type and what our vision is and what we want to do. Our motto here is we build them to drive as good as they look. And we really do build them to drive as good as they look. I've seen so many beautiful looking cars that go through auctions at very, very high money, only for customers and maybe first time E-Type owners to be very disappointed in how they drive, because these many companies out there will build these cars purely for the hammer price. So all it has to do is look good. They pay no attention to the mechanical side of the car, how they build the suspension to make it feel tight so it doesn't rattle and bang, make the engines perform well with, no rattly engines, nice slick gear changes. I was putting fuel injection on V12 E-Types back in in 2008, 2009. They were good, but I didn't accept that was good enough. So I've been working tirelessly. Virtually every car I build, I've been improving it, and every one I do, I think, what could I do better next time? And now we're even working on a ground up fuel injection setup for the V12, drive by wire. We'll have our own complete custom induction system. We're not leaving anything to chance. At West Coast E-Type, we concentrate and focus on building high-end E-Types. However, we don't draw a line at that. We're happy to cater for people with whatever your want and need. No job too big or small, whether it's just an oil change, whether we need to do discs, pads, full restoration, paintwork, whatever it is. If it's a Jaguar E-Type, we can do it.
I came from the UK, brought this car with me, which I've had for 15 years, and I've been here 10 years. And for the first year and a half, it was okay. Didn't need any maintenance, particularly that I couldn't cope with. But I always thought when I need some help, where am I going to go? Because in truth, there's so much specialist knowledge that goes into maintaining a car like this, and I didn't really feel that anybody in California was particularly a specialist. And then I was at a car meet, Cars and Coffee, like this, and this British guy came over to me and said, "Do you know my friend Harry?" And I went, "No, who's he?" And he said, "Oh, well, he's set up a specialist restoration business in the UK, and he's moving out here, and he'll be looking for business." And I just thought, that's just what I need. So really, I've known Harry 9 years, and in that time, we have rebuilt, well, he has rebuilt every mechanical component on this car except the gearbox, all the way from the back to the front, including the engine. Nothing cosmetic. I haven't wanted to do that, but yeah, we've done it front to back because I drive it daily, or at least every other day. I've done 70,000 miles in the car, which is unusual these days in a classic. Yeah, so I tend to do a lot more miles in a classic than most people might expect. And Harry always says to me, most of my customers come in, and I'm replacing stuff that is failed because it hasn't been used. And when I bring the car in, he's replacing stuff that's been worn out from use. So that's kind of the way I do it. And yeah, I really appreciate Harry's depth of expertise. Firstly, it's how the cars actually work and what's the correct way of setting things up and what's the correct mechanical fixes for everything, which is, I mean, if he were to write a book, it would be a long one. So that's the first thing. But added to that, it's also like knowing all the specialists in the UK, because you can go online and buy any part and it comes in 24 hours, but it's an aftermarket part. And most of the problems we have running these cars now are badly manufactured aftermarket parts. So having those connections that Harry's built up in the UK means that as far as possible he's able to know where to source particular pieces or get things rebuilt and refurbished, rather than buying the one off the shelf, which he knows will be unreliable. Case in point is the brake servo, the booster, the Americans call it. And for some reason the rebuilds are awful. So he puts however many hours into fitting that part, and at least 1 in 3 fails within the first month for the customer. And then he has to do it again. And obviously he can't charge the customer twice. So out of frustration with those kind of issues, and of course the customer's frustrated as well, I've had it happen, he's figured out where to get the original parts rebuilt and then have much, much less of those kind of reliability issues.
Hello, my name is Brendan Lynch. I've been a Grateful Jag owner since 2007. Started out with a 71 V12 2+2 E-Type and have been enjoying it ever since. I brought it to Harry because I wanted to modernize the mechanicals of it and improve the driving experience. So we changed it to his downdraft fuel injection and a modern 5-speed, and then went through the suspension and really upgraded that and added the lightweight rear fenders. So just make a beautiful bespoke car representative of my own personality and use case. I keep going back just because I enjoy the experience of working with the shop and the culture that we have around that. We have a annual trip that we take up to Monterey Concorso weekend, where you drive the cars 390 miles up from LA to Monterey, do a variety of different shows as group activity, and then bring them all back. And we have flawless experience with the cars, and it's really just a wonderful time. And being here in Southern California, we're able to do many car events. We're here at a beautiful Old Place today, the Sunday sort of informal coffee and cars, and it's great to have our cars with us here. Just enjoy the culture and the lifestyle of being a Jag owner, and specifically a bespoke Jag owner.